The new F-55 fighter, the spirit of the F-22 in the body of the F-35. U.S. President Donald Trump has recently unveiled a new twin-engine model of the F-35 fighter, naming it the F-55. Trump introduced this new model alongside a more advanced version of the F-22. He stated, "We are also working on an F-55, which is a major upgrade. This one is going to be twin-engine because the F-35 has only one engine, and I don't like single-engine fighters." Previously, after Lockheed Martin failed to secure the contract for America's sixth-generation stealth fighter, its CEO proposed an upgrade plan for the F-35, which he referred to as the Ferrari model of the F-35. Had this plan been implemented, it could have resulted in an advanced F-35 resembling the F-22, essentially a bomber version of the Raptor. This model would have been designed more for attack than for aerial maneuvers, meaning its speed and agility would be slightly reduced, but its range and weapons capacity would be significantly increased. However, what Trump calls the F-55 is clearly intended to compensate for the F-22 shortage. The issue is that F-22 production was halted prematurely, with only 186 units ever built. The U.S. government ordered Lockheed Martin to destroy the manufacturing tooling to prevent any other country from building a similar aircraft. But in 2017, the U.S. Congress realized this was a mistake. Based on a classified study, they examined the cost of restarting F-22 production. The conclusion was that building 94 new F-22s would cost around $61 billion, which translates to approximately $326 million per aircraft. This amount is far more than what the U.S. wants to spend on its new F-47 fighter.
A year later, Lockheed Martin made another proposal, this time to Japan. It was a plan to build hybrid fighters with the F-22's airframe and the F-35's more advanced electronics. Japan was supposed to provide the initial investment, after which both Japan and the U.S. would use the fighter. At the time, its price was estimated at around $177 million per aircraft, which, adjusted for today's inflation, is about $280 million, nearly twice the price of an F-35. Of course, this fighter could have truly been the most advanced aircraft in history, provided that sixth-generation fighters hadn't entered the scene. Ultimately, both the US and Japan decided it wasn't logical to spend billions of dollars on a design that was decades old. Now, let's get back to the F-55. This idea might be more practical than the joint Raptor concept because the modifications would be made on an existing production line, eliminating the need to build a new one from scratch. This alone would significantly reduce costs. However, even this doesn't mean it's feasible. Adding a second engine to the F-35 is a massive change. The stealth design, internal systems, everything would have to be redesigned from the ground up. Calling it an F-35 upgrade seems to be either a mistake or a calculated promotional move. Of course, this kind of thing has happened before. Boeing's F/A-18 Super Hornet is a famous example. This aircraft is actually a completely different model from the old F/A-18 Hornet it was supposed to be based on. It only shares some visual similarities and its name, which was used to make it appear like a simple and inexpensive upgrade rather than a costly new design from scratch. It's possible that Lockheed Martin, or even Trump himself, is doing the same with the F-55, calling it an upgraded F-35 model simply to make the project seem easier and cheaper, while in reality, it would likely be one of the most expensive military projects in the world.
However, Trump's concern about single-engine fighters doesn't quite align with the modern realities of the military aviation industry. Today's single-engine fighters are, on the whole, safer and more reliable than older twin-engine fighters, thanks to significant advancements in turbojet engine technology. Of course, adding a second engine can provide greater capabilities, such as a higher top speed, a higher flight ceiling, supercruise capability, flying at supersonic speeds without afterburner, and much more. But the most important issue is the immense cost. Trump has proposed this idea while the U.S. Department of Defense is assessing whether it can even move forward with the production program for the Navy's new stealth fighter. Given what we know about the multi-billion-dollar costs of designing, building, and completely retooling for F-55 production, it's truly difficult to see how they could advance this plan alongside other defense programs. But could a twin-engine F-55 be useful? Absolutely. The only question is whether it's possible to do it while the Pentagon is simultaneously allocating funds for new hypersonic missiles, launch silos, new Columbia-class submarines, new aircraft carriers, sixth-generation fighters, stealth bombers, and many other things. Even with a $1 trillion U.S. military budget, there is ultimately a ceiling on what can be built. Well, we'll have to see what ultimately happens. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please be sure to do so. Your support is our biggest motivation to continue our work.